Well, that would suck. Here we go on a Wednesday. By the way, huge news coming tomorrow morning on KCMO. You do not want to miss it. Some of the biggest news in KCMO talk radio history. That being said, what do you got on a What If Wednesday, John?
Let's do this one. What if mainstream media simply just called Hamas terrorists?
Well, they would be doing the right thing, number one. And number two, well, we wouldn't get headlines like this from the New York Times. New York Times published a story referring to Hamas as terrorists, and then they changed it to call them gunmen. I kid you not. It's on my Twitter page right now, at Pete Mundo. The original piece read right under the headline, as Israeli soldiers regain control of areas near Gaza that came under attack, they are finding evidence seen in videos and photos and confirmed by witness accounts of the massacre of civilians by Hamas terrorists. That was how the New York Times originally wrote it. They then changed it to, at the end of that sentence, writing here, confirmed by witness accounts of the massacres of civilians by Hamas gunmen. These people are shameless. The media coverage, I mean, it's been pretty good, but it still has been amazing how you have seen this kind of kid glove mentality with the planet's worst and most evil human beings. And that's what we're dealing with right now. Yet there still has been this kid glove mentality. And whether it's driven by, nobody should be offended, we don't want to offend anybody, or it's driven by pure-blown anti-Semitism, I don't know. I don't want to try to be the person who's gauging what's in somebody's heart. But I do know this much. If you are willing to soften your tone with Hamas, boy, you got to go back to J school. That's what you got to do. Unbelievable. What's next, John?
What if Kansas Cityans are starting to realize that the Kansas City police officers aren't the bad guys?
Well, then we might finally be able to start getting crime under control in key parts of this town. If you haven't seen the announcement, there was a big press conference yesterday here in Kansas City with leadership, Police Chief Stacey Graves. She was on the show at 7 o'clock today. If you missed that, it'll be up on the podcast after the show. Where they talked about a key neighborhood. It's a 4-mile radius neighborhood, Santa Fe neighborhood, that historically over 20 years has seen as much as 20% of all homicides in Kansas City. Well, over the last year, they have gotten homicides down from 9 to 2 in this specific neighborhood. And we asked Chief Graves how she did it and what they're doing. And she said in large part what this is partnerships with the community. Prevention, intervention, and enforcement. And as she noted, they started off with a group of like 35 people in this neighborhood, and now there's 100 people in this neighborhood who are engaged, who are working with the police, who are tipping them off, who are doing the things that need to be done to prevent homicides before they occur. And that, in part, has to be happening. The only way that happens is if people in the community realize cops aren't the bad guys here. No matter what left-wing rags like the Kansas City Star and their editorial board tell you from, their Johnson County homes and basements with 7 masks on, cops are not the bad guys. The propaganda, the lies from 2020 that have lingered for the last 3 years have resulted indirectly in this increased homicide count in Kansas City and around the country. And it seems like finally people are realizing that they were sold a bill of goods and they're pushing back on it. And damn, I'm glad they are. And they're cutting through all the BS. So this is a great step in the right direction. It's an uphill battle for the police department, but I hope that the success that we're seeing in this key neighborhood, the Santa Fe neighborhood in Kansas City, Missouri, will permeate across some of the high crime areas of Kansas City. That would be absolutely great news. I'm excited about that, John.
All right, and finally, what if Aaron Rodgers debates Travis Kelce over the vaccine?
Well, I'll just put it this way. I love you, Travis. I'll be rooting for you to score a touchdown tomorrow night at Arrowhead. I'll be there. I'm looking forward to seeing him score one. But if it comes down to a COVID vax debate, the dude is screwed. He ain't winning that one. If you didn't hear what Aaron Rodgers said yesterday on the Pat McAfee show, this came after Travis Kelce said last week that he's okay being called Mr. Pfizer. Here is what Aaron Rodgers said yesterday.
I mean, listen, Mr. Pfizer said he didn't think he would be in a vax war with me.
Oh, boy.
Didn't think he'd be in a vax war with me. This ain't a war, homie. This is just conversation. But if you want to have some sort of duel, debate, have me on the podcast. Come on the show. Let's have a conversation.
Oh,
let's
okay.
Pass it out.
Let's do it like in John Wick 4, right? So we both have a second.
Nice.
Right? So somebody to help us out. I'm going to take my man, RFK Jr.
Okay. Okay.
As an independent.
Hell yeah.
Right? And he can have, Tony Fauci or some other pharmacrat. And we can have a conversation about this.
Okay. Well, I'm happy we got that sorted.
I don't like Travis's chances. I'll say that much, John.
Not a fan of Mr. Rogers. I wasn't aware he was from Cleveland Heights. Ergo, he's not a homie.
Yeah, well,
So,
touche.
You know.
Yeah. Well, either way.
Entertainment for sure.
Yeah, it's very good. Very good. I'd love to see the debate. I would just say this, Travis. Why go to Tony Fauci for your debate partner when you can stay right here in town and get old former KCMO health director Rex Archer?
Thanksgiving.
Oh!
Boy, I love Thanksgiving.
How about that? Who you taking in that one? I can't stand RFK's voice, God bless him, but I think I'm taking Aaron over Travis when it comes to that debate 10 out of 10 times. Just saying.
RFK and Fauci both debating? That would be horrible.
Gosh, talk about nails on a chalkboard. David Sofer, What If Wednesday's in the books.